Welcome to Hungary.
This is the making of Robin Hood Series 2.
They've taken all our money.
And we don't have a pact.
What are you playing? You could have killed us in
What
there.
happened? Did you tell him?
The stakes have been raised.
Robin Hood.
It's a bit bigger in scale.
Jonas injured his foot.
Because we had Jonas breaking his foot,
Yeah.
fighting with Gisborne.
And then Jonas broke his foot.
Cracked my foot. But that was just, I just hit the side of a building wrong, and I should have gone into it with my back, but I went in on my side, and I fractured my third metatarsal bone in my right foot, so I went home for 3 weeks. Yeah. Beckham and Rooney bone, yeah. I think those were the fifth one, but it was a metatarsal, so that'll do for me.
It was pretty immediate that we couldn't continue with Jonas. So what we did was we tried to do work that didn't involve him. Inevitably, there isn't an awful lot of that because the clue is in the title. And so he's in most of the stuff. And when we ran out of that, we had to set down, we had to have a hiatus, had to stop filming. And luckily, because he's young and passably fit, he mended quite quickly.
Time to disappear?
Yeah. My gang. This way. Come on.
We've got hopefully quite a few guest stars coming up. Tony Slattery, the Canon of Berkeley, a man whose duty is to God but is more often to be found in the tavern with the girls.
You made a promise before God not to hurt me.
He did. I didn't.
Josie Lawrence as a witch.
Let's take a look.
Ralph Little as a mad scientist trying to poison everybody.
How was your evening's generosity?
Very satisfying. They all took the bait, like rats.
Good. Shouldn't you be measuring or whatever it is that you do?
And we've got Dennis Lawson as the very urbane and evil match for the sheriff.
On into the series, there's a spy that's discovered.
I think I have a spy in my gang.
I can't say any more than that.
One of you is betraying us. You're meeting Gisborne and you're selling our secrets.
Not me.
It's not me either.
Well, it's not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Stop this now. If the guilty man or woman confesses right here, I'll listen.
Well, Alan Adair was always the kind of cheeky chappy in our heads, was always the guy who was looking out for himself.
And what's selfish? You know, if Robin is altruistic and by doing good he feels good, well, Alan's a bit bored of that. I don't get nothing out of this. And how do you articulate how good Robin is if everybody is completely black against him, i.e. the bad guys? There's a grey guy. He's not quite sure. He ducks it. It's great. You know, and he gets into his Alan in his leather costume. Suddenly, the fan mail arrives. You know, he looks great and he feels sexy and he looks good and he's kind of, ooh, the dark side. Ooh, we're liking that.
One chance to live.
I'm not hoping you kill Robin. Not hoping you kill anyone.
Yeah, I respect you for that. So let's look at this another way, shall we? An exchange as we go along. A little information, a little money, a conversation.
Ultimately, Alan will be tested, He'll be put in a position where not only is he doing something that, or not only is he doing something that will give him a little bit, it's going to cost him a lot, and it's going to cost him his friends a lot, and it's going to cost the nation a lot. At what point on that tram line does he go, no, enough, and try and resolve the issues?
The gang inevitably begin at times to question his strategy and his tactics. Is it about Marion? Are we doing this to, get money for the poor, or are you fixated on your girlfriend again?
It's interesting to see when the characters actually question Robin.
There's not enough to feed all the villagers.
Then we'll give it to the families with young children first.
No, we need more food.
No, we need to find the sheriff.
I don't care about the sheriff.
All right. Then you don't care about Nottingham.
The leadership is not necessarily a negotiated settlement. He is the leader. And of course, people get cross about that and resist that and reject that and ultimately betray that for some characters.
I can't let people starve.
And I won't go against Robin's orders.
Why?
Because he's right. And he's our leader.
Leaders can be wrong.
Little John doesn't see why they're trying to save the sheriff. I mean, he understands, but he doesn't. He says, "Look, there's an immediate problem. There are some hungry people. That's what we're supposed to. That's our job. We deal with that. We don't go helping the castle team solve their problems."
We got a camp in the
There's
forest.
a camp. I mean, this show needed some more camp. So, yeah. No, we've got a home now, which does have an effect on the Merry Men, definitely.
Yeah.
I think certainly Much was always searching for home in the first one, but now he's got his own kitchen and.
Okay. Thought you said chicken.
Well, it's a pretty small chicken, Much.
Yeah, again.
And have you seen in the trees? No squirrels lately?
We were very itinerant last year, sort of on a band of kind of renegades on the run, and this time we've decided to set up base in this very cleverly disguised camp that
It is quite clever, actually.
Will designs.
Miraculously creative.
And it's got all sorts of things. It's got a working toilet, a dartboard, I think,
hammock,
and a big sort of cooking range to
It's got an L-shaped kitchen.
We knew we wanted somewhere that they could have as their sort of base. And we looked at the possibility of building a set here. And in the end we didn't, partially because it would be expensive, and partially because we don't have a studio as such, so it would have been on the back lot here. So it would have been equally open to the wind and the rain and all the rest, because it's a real old forest, and it's hard physical work. But there's something irreducibly both magical and real about the scale of that forest. And we found various sites for the camp. One we went for in the end was this one that is sort of almost in a ravine, which tells, I think, very clearly the idea that you can't stumble across it if you happen to be walking through the forest, that it's very well protected and it's very invisible to the casual observer.
Right work, Will.
Oh, there's nothing.
Genius! I love our camp!
No, it's brilliant, our Outlaws camp. I think the idea of it's perfect, because last year we just had to we were like nomads, we kept on having to move around from kind of camp to camp and not be stuck in one place. And now they've kind of set up route, and Muchie's got his kitchen, he's cooking, there's a toilet, they've got an alarm ring, and they've all got kind of hammock beds. So yeah, it's really good, works really well.
The alarm!
Over series 1, and we kind of said, what did we like? And we liked the action, we liked the adventure, we liked the romance, we liked the comedy, and those are the things that we've kind of pushed more. And we're allowed to push those more because of we're just talking about the kind of the big arcing story allows you to raise the stakes, which allows you to raise the jeopardy, which allows you to increase the adventure. The adventure stuff was really, it's kind of great. It's kind of what's the unique factor of Robin Hood? It's adventure.
I think it's a bit more adventurous. The castle has expanded a lot, so there's more rooms and it's more labyrinthine, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think we wanted more of that sort of Indiana Jones feel where it was appropriate, because you know, the parameters of the story are quite well defined, and we can't stray too far away from them because then it wouldn't be Robin Hood.
The sheriff has his own cathedral of evil.
My friends, our time has come.
Which is fantastic because the truth of it is that the Great Hall, which was used a lot in Series 1, which we use occasionally in Series 2, and that's been redressed, which means redesigned so that it doesn't look like the Great Hall, with these 6 pillars in a circle, and the big table in the middle with the map of England, with the sheriff's ambition to take over the whole map. And so that's what it is as a physical reality. And then in CGI, we've extended its ceiling hundreds of feet up. So it is this little pinprick of light right at the top, and then all the way down. The sheriff, a little figure at the bottom.
The sheriff's strong room, which features quite heavily in a couple of the episodes where he keeps all his mainly treasure and things which he doesn't want to be discovered or to be stolen, like the pact that all the Black Knights signed to kill the king.
The pact.
Go, you know, I'd like to see it go into a darker place, which I'm glad to see that it has. It can't go too dark, obviously, but it has taken on a tone which I think will work really well.
By giving the sheriff an Uber mission that has as its stakes England, de facto you've raised the stakes, de facto people think it's darker and more complex and more dangerous. I think that's where people get a sense that it's a darker telling of the story.
There is much more at stake this series. You know,
It's quite dark as well.
If they resist, shall I use force?
Get up to speed, Gisborne. Use force anyway.
There's a story now, he's gathering together his forces of darkness, which are luckily called the Black Knights.
Well, I mean, the sheriff basically wants to take over the world. I mean, that's basically it. So he's got, you know, because he got away with it in Series 1, he's even more ambitious.
We are the Black Knights.
Why so coy, Vasey? Why not call yourselves the traitors? An Operation Sharmat? Why not call it checkmate? Or better still, kill the king.
It is darker. I mean, it's a step forward, isn't it? You know, Series 1 had the sheriff chopping out people's tongues if they were helping Robin. Series 2 has Dan, you know, Dan Scarlett kind of killed for raising a voice of dissent in a very public place.
It cost me my wife, my hand and the respect of my son, so I'm not shutting up anymore. Now, why are you saying this is the best of...
The sheriff, you feel, is just like bad to the core. Whereas Guy, you feel, is bad, but underneath it, if you could just get underneath it, you'd find something a bit softer and a bit more compassionate.
He kind of vents his vengeance on her and her father in quite a serious way, and almost it's very personal. The sheriff sort of says deal with it, and the way that he deals with it is very out of proportion with what's happened. It's like his whole anger kind of attacks them in quite a violent act.
Burn the house!
Guy, no! No! Please, Sir Guy.
Better. Sir Guy. Beg.
Sir Guy, please, I beg you.
Much better.
But still not good enough.
At the beginning of the series, our house gets burnt down by Gisborne. And so we both have to move into the castle.
In a way, he's committing career suicide at about the midpoint now, he does something which is really jeopardises his career, and it's because of Marion.
Guy Gisborne, a man redeemed by...
It's basically, in Series 1, I kind of figured that Gisborne was a bit like a robot. No comments about the style of acting, thank you. But he was kind of like, he wasn't really very human, and that was deliberate. And throughout the series, he came to understand his own human qualities. And in Series 2, he has to continue to do the job that he does, but at the same time, he's a man that's starting to experience compassion.
Marion, I thought that I might never see you again. I thought I might never...
What?
In our heads, when we created our version of Guy of Gisborne, we wanted somebody who had just missed being Robin Hood. Do you know what I mean? He could have been Robin Hood, and that's what makes him so interesting for us to write and see on screen. Is he could almost be there, and she can see that, and that's important.
And he can feel that. I think that's because, you know, he believes Marion will wipe him clean, will cleanse him, will bring the better him out of him, and all that kind of stuff. And that better him is just a nanosecond away.
She is stirred by him in our heads, and who wouldn't be? You know, he's great.
This year, she's a bit more savvy in terms of finding out information via other people. You know, but being a bit sly. You know, she talks to Gisborne quite a lot, tries to get some information from him at the beginning of the series. She manipulates him slightly. Guy.
It's become much less tolerant compared to the last series. I mean, I think he suffers the same humiliations, but his fuse is much shorter this time. I decided. So he snaps a lot easier.
You're coming to the castle. Sheriff wants you where he can see you.
No, we're not. My father is frail. Release him.
You do not tell me what to do.
She's Robin's inside man, basically, in the castle, like his mole, if you like.
He's finally got the kind of woman he's been chasing. He got her, and now again she's playing with him again.
She's very vulnerable now in the castle, as the sheriff's permanent guest. You can check it out any time you want, but you can never leave. And she's under guard, and so she takes a great risk by helping Robin. Every time she gets out of the castle, every time she slips into the night watchman gear to go and help people, if she's caught, she'll be killed.
Well, she left him at the altar. So, I mean, that's pretty obvious that she doesn't care for him. But he keeps on plugging away, Gisborne does. He's always plugging away, and she's a bit of a sap for that. She kind of draws her towards him a bit more. So he's still in the picture. He's still there.
You saved my life. I'm grateful.
Well, I could not watch you die and do nothing.
You saved Robin, too.
That was incidental.
Was it?
There's quite a big change for her in the middle of the series because her father dies. And, you know, generally if someone close to you passes away, then you things that seemed very important before tend not to quite matter so much, and I think that's a big growing up point for her.
So there's obviously a point in the series where Marion leaves the castle after her father's death, because now there's nothing holding her there. The sheriff has always effectively kept her in the castle with the threat that if she doesn't behave, her father will be killed or mistreated or whatever.
She goes on a bit of a rampage. She goes and lives in the forest with Robin.
Robin, sheriff's men.
You don't want them to see you with outlaws.
I don't care. They're attacking the village. Let's get them.
Why are they doing this?
Why? Robin, there isn't time for why. Let's go.
Marion, wait and see how many...
Come on!
Marion!
And of course she loves it because now she is with Robin. That's what she's always wanted. That's what he's always wanted. She feels that she'll fit in all right. It's what she's wanted after all. And yet in that way that the grass is always greener, now she's in the forest. You know, it's a bit grubby, it's a bit dangerous, it's a bit boring. You've got to sleep in a camp with a lot of blokes, you know, all of whom have bad body odour. And so it's not quite so much fun after all.
This is a team, Marion. You went crashing in and we all had to follow. And in battle, that's a cardinal sin. We work together.
You mean they do as you tell them?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And until you learn to do the same, you can stay here at the camp.
What?
So she has a trial run with Robin. And so there are sorts of tensions within the gang. And I think those sorts of tensions serve to underline and develop him as a leader. And towards the end of the series, there'll be a couple of very big tests of him.
Taken with Gisborne and the sheriff, and indeed Marion, on the journey to kill the king. They spend a night in an inn. In that night, he goes, no, I have to go back and tell Robin what's happening, and then Robin must take a decision. You know, it's not quite a dark night of the soul for him, but it is the moment where the entire arc of the series comes together for that character. Whether he's redeemed or not, whether he'll be forgiven by his friends or indeed the state, who knows? Well, this is the first time we've met Richard, the first time we've met the king, and within 15 minutes he's buried Robin up to his neck, or strung them out in the desert, left them to die, come round to the position that they're for real, and then he's lying on the ground shot, you know, with a broken arm and a...